Bruchim Aboyim, again, thank you for attending and welcome to our home. This week on My Thoughts, we will continue with our in-depth examination of Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, with the 12th Mishnah in this chapter. Now, this Mishnah introduces us to the next pair of zugot, pair of sages, that led the nation in their capacity of Nasi, the president, and the Av Bezdin, the head of the Supreme Judicial Court. They were Hillel and Shammai. They served during the reign of King Herod, approximately 100 years before the destruction of the Second Temple. The Talmud in the Tractate of Eruvin states that whenever these two sages are mentioned together, the usual practice was to mention Shammai before Hillel was mentioned. This practice was adopted by Hillel himself as well as by his disciples. This fact may have been predicated on Hillel's extraordinary humility. However, in this Mishnah, strange, but Hillel is mentioned first. The Talmud in the Tractate of Shabbos is replete with stories about Hillel and his ultimate humility, since this Mishnah is devoted to the development of 5 character traits. It was only proper that the paragon of humility, Hillel, should be the first one that is cited here. The Talmud in the Tractate of Shabbat relates accounts where we can witness just how Hillel was the perfect embodiment of his teaching, to love peace and to love people, not just in word, but also in deed. The Talmud states that there was a man who had wagered 400 zuzim that he could make Hillel lose his patience. It was a Friday afternoon, and Hillel was taking a bath before the Shabbat. One of the men, again, passed by his door and shouted, "Where is Hillel? Where is Hillel?" Hillel wrapped himself in a robe and asked the man what he wanted. The man said, "I have a question to ask you. Why did the Babylonians have round heads?" Hillel said, "That is a profound question." He explained that it was because their midwives are not trained properly. Well, the man departed, but he returned a short while later. Again he shouted, "Where is Hillel? Where is Hillel?" Again Hillel appeared wearing his robe. The question this time was, why did the people of Tadmor, and inhabitants of Palmyra, have slanted eyes? Hillel said, "This too is a profound question. It is because they live in a sandy country and their slits prevent sand from entering their eyes." The man departed, only to return once again, but this time the question was, why are the feet of the Africans so wide? Again Hillel replied, "This too is a profound question. It is because they live in marshy land. Seeing that their feet are wide, they do not readily sink into the marshy soil." Well, then the man said, "I have many more questions to ask you, but I'm afraid that you will become angry at me." Hillel wrapped his robe a little tighter, and then he took a seat. He told the man to ask all the questions that he wanted. Well, the man then said to him, "Are you the Hillel whom they call the Prince of Israel?" Hillel replied, "Yes." The man addressed him in an angry tone. He said, "If that is so, that may there be no more like you in Israel." Well, Hillel was a bit confused. He said, "But why, my son?" The man answered, "Because of you, I have lost 400 zuzim." Hillel replied, "It is better for you to lose 400 zuzim and even another 400 zuzim, rather than Hillel should lose his temper." The Mishnah opens with the words Hillel says, "Be among the disciples of Aaron, but loving peace and pursuing peace, loving people and bringing them closer to the Torah." Now this Mishnah really carries a simple instruction that reaches deep into the core of Jewish ethical life. At first glance, the language of the Mishnah seems gentle and straightforward. However, on closer examination, one can notice that every word stated here connects us towards an action. The Mishnah does not tell us to admire peace. It instructs us to love and pursue it. It does not inform us to tolerate people. It tells us to love them. It does not tell us to guard wisdom. It tells us to bring others close to it. The qualities stated in these few lines reveal a blueprint of character that is grounded in empathy, initiative, and responsibility. Hillel begins this Mishnah with Aaron, Moshe's brother, who served as the first Kohen Gadol, high priest. The Mishnah presents him as not only a ritual leader, but in addition as a model of personal conduct. When the Mishnah suggests that we should aspire to be among the disciples of Aaron, it is giving us a picture of someone who walked through life with warmth and patience to everyone that he met. Jewish tradition depicts Aaron as someone who would strongly involve himself into strained personal relationships and encourage healing. He would approach friends who had fought with each other and gently nudge them towards reconciliation. This Mishnah uses his example to set the stage that these qualities are not abstract ideals. They are traits that should be employed by all of us in our daily personal interactions. The Mishnah Rebbe asks, what sort of people does our Mishnah refer to? Clearly, those who are far from being Torah observant. In other words, Hillel is telling us that Aaron loved all Jews equally, the transgressor, the ignorant, and the non-observant the same as he loved the Torah scholar, the sage, and the saint. Aaron quietly promoted love. He didn't preach, nor did he condemn. He merely enveloped people with love and with friendship. And responding to the warmth of his personality, he was then able to bring people closer to the Torah. As the saying goes, words from the heart enter the heart. Rabbi Kook, the chief rabbi of Israel, was once asked why he was so friendly to people who were non-observant, to which he replied, I would rather be guilty of ahavas chinam, meaning undeserved love, than sinas chinam, meaning baseless hatred. Tradition tells us that the Second Temple was destroyed and the nation was sent into exile because of the sin of sinas chinam, of baseless hatred. Hillel's first statement is love peace. Loving peace means seeing it as more than just a convenient state of calm. Peace, in this sense, is the health of relationships. It is what allows us to grow. When someone loves peace, they feel drawn to moments that build connection rather than division. Loving peace means valuing the dignity of the people that you interact with and striving to make your interactions with them rest upon goodwill. This love becomes a frame of mind that shapes how one listens, one reacts, and one speaks. Yet the mission does not stop at loving peace. It continues with the term of pursuing peace. Now, this part is crucial. You can appreciate peace in theory and still choose comfort over effort. Pursuing peace means moving towards the problem rather than ignoring or moving away from it. It means acknowledging that a rift has developed in a relationship and that taking the proper steps to hopefully repair the damage. Pursuit involves taking some risk. When you try to mend a broken relationship, you expose yourself to the possibility of rejection or even misunderstanding. The Mishnah is expressing the necessity for proper action in conjunction with the proper words spoken at the proper time. Loving people is the next instruction stated in the Mishnah. The Hebrew word briot means creatures. This is an allusion to the slowest of people. These words suggest loving all people, not just those who think or live like you do. This includes individuals who frustrate you, those whose life decisions really make little sense to you, or people who do not share your life values or ambitions. To love them means to recognize the divine spark, the pintele id, an intrinsic worth inherent within each and every human being, though they may be different from you. The mitzvah of loving your neighbor as yourself is not about loving lovable people. It's about loving those lost souls that are not easily loved. people that others shun and avoid rather than embrace. That is the true mitzvah of the Ahavta l'reacha kamocha, of loving your fellow being as you love yourself. Pursuing peace means resisting the urge to dismiss someone based on only a single flaw or a single moment. Loving people is not the same as approving of everything that they do. What it does mean is having the ability to look past their flaws and still wanting them to be successful, believing in their potential and treating them with both honor and respect. It means, as the Medrash Shmuel states, that we must love people simply because everyone was created by God Almighty, B'Tselmo, in his own image. This Mishnah concludes with the words, bring them close to Torah. Now, this idea follows naturally from the concept of loving people. If you care about someone else, well, you want them to grow. You want them to succeed. You sincerely want the best for them. You want them to have access to wisdom and proper guidance. Now, in this context, Torah does not only refer to the written text, it means teaching others by example the meaning of moral direction. To bring another person closer to Torah is to share insight in a way that uplifts their spirit rather than pressures them. It means creating space where learning feels at home. True teachers do not force people to accept the truth. What they do is they build trust so that their students feel drawn to it on their own. There exists an important balance here. The Mishnah does not say, bring Torah to the people. What it does say is bring people close to the Torah. This language matters. Torah is stable. It stands as an unalterable source. The role of a Torah teacher is to guide a student toward it, not to reshape wisdom to match every opinion. At the same time, a teacher's approach must be presented with compassion and tailored to the level and reality of each individual. Aaron was known for meeting people where they were. The Mishnah is suggesting that we should attempt to emulate that combination of conviction and gentility. It states in Kala Rabbosai that despite the fact that Aaron was divinely appointed to the position of high priest by God Almighty himself, still he did not hesitate to humble himself in the hope that he would be successful in bringing peace between friends and married couples. As a sign of gratitude for his efforts, many of the married couples that he counseled would often name their next son after him. At Aaron's funeral, there were 80,000 men who were named Aaron, who mourned his loss. Rabbeinu Yonah stated that when Moshe died, the Torah states that all the men mourned for his loss. However, when Aaron died, the Torah states that he was mourned by all the nation, which included both men and women. When you put all these qualities together, you get a portrait of a person who sees relationships as a sacred responsibility. Loving peace means wanting all relationships to be strong and productive. Pursuing peace means doing the hard work to repair them. Loving people means treating each person as worthy of dignity and patience. And bringing them close to Torah means sharing a path that has the ability to enrich their lives. Underlying this Mishnah is the idea that personal character has a ripple effect. When someone acts as a peacemaker, it influences others. A community built on suspicion collapses. A community built on mutual respect holds together and flourishes. The Mishnah invites each person to be a stabilizing force. Even small gestures of kindness, apology, and understanding can change the emotional climate of relationships between friends and or family. You do not need a title or a position to be successful at this job. You only need a willingness to care enough to find common ground with people. These qualities also require consistency. Anyone can make peace once. Anyone can be kind once. The Mishnah calls for a way of living that becomes second nature. It's easy to pursue peace when the stakes are low. It is much harder when pride gets in the way or when the conflict seems just too old to fix. Yet that is when this teaching shows its strength. Loving peace and pursuing peace asks us to rise above our own egos. Loving people asks us to stretch our empathy even when it hurts. Bringing people close to Torah asks us to share meaning even when we are tired or discouraged. We do not have the liberty to give up. So bottom line, to follow this Mishnah is not a one-time grand dramatic gesture. It is a steady commitment to being the kind of person who makes life better for others. Peace, connection, growth, and learning become the measures of success. In a world crowded with noise and tension, the qualities of this short teaching offer a calm and firm path to success. They remind us that the heart of ethics lies in how we treat each other and in the efforts we make to build something whole out of the daily pieces of human interactions. In that way, we build a better and happier life for ourselves and for all those around us. The saying goes, joy with a friend is doubled and sorrow is cut in half. I hope you found this lecture interesting and informative. May God Almighty bless you with the strength and wisdom to follow the advice of the sages. Next week, God willing, we will continue with the 13th Mishnah in this chapter. Let us all continue to pray for a swift and complete victorious end to the war in the Middle East, with the total annihilation of Iran and all of her proxies. Let's celebrate the return of all of our hostages. May God Almighty cure the sick and injured, comfort all the mourners, and return home all the brave IDF soldiers led by Mashiach Tzidkenu quickly and in our time. Again, let me thank you for attending. God should bless you and yours with all that's good, health and wealth and safety. If you can, please make sure that you push the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And try to, again, get your friends interested. They may find it much more interesting than you can imagine. The wisdom and the symmetry that sages try to teach us is so beneficial to all of us in our daily lives. God bless you. Be well. Shabbat Shalom and a happy and healthy New Year. God bless.